morning. We've been working with your common lit articles, and I want to take a little pause to do something very different today. As you've been noticing, a lot of the words in the articles are words that are unfamiliar to you, and that can cause some stress, and that's completely natural, but I want to teach you some strategies today that can help you overcome that by looking at nonsense language. In the 1800s, there was a math professor named Carroll. He wrote Alice in Wonderland, which I'm sure you're familiar with. He also wrote a poem called the Jabberwocky. And what's cool about that poem is there are very few words in the poem that we actually know. Most of the words are made up. But what we're going to do today is figure out what he may have meant and make some kind of sense out of it. So today, you have Jabberwocky in your Chromebooks, in Google Classroom, and I want you to write down the words that you don't recognize, and I will do the same. So it starts off, "'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the waves. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mom raths outprayed." Now, I don't know about you, but there were only a few words in there that I knew. "'Twas," I knew because "'twas the night before Christmas." It's short for "it was." If you look at the word, you notice that you have an apostrophe at the beginning before "'twas." And apostrophes, as we've talked about, show either possession or that a letter is missing. So just like with can't, it would be C-A-N apostrophe T. "'Twas" is apostrophe T-W-A-S. Can't is short for cannot, which is two words. So if we separate "'twas" into two words, and we have T was, because we know "was" is a word, we're missing a letter before the T. And I can only think of one word that is a two-letter word that ends with T, and that is it or at. At was doesn't make sense. It was. It was makes sense. Brillig. I don't know what brillig is, but it sounds a lot like the word brilliant. So it has the B-R-I-L-L. And with "'twas the night before Christmas," the night before Christmas shows when something happened. I guess "'twas" could show where, but we're replacing it with one word. So "'twas at the park," that's three words and not just one. But "'twas noon," "'twas spring," "'twas summer," "'twas Tuesday," all of those are examples of when. So I'm thinking that brillig might be a time of day or a time of year. And because it sounds a little like brilliant, I'm thinking it's either a summery day or a bright day. Now we move on to slithy toves. That sounds a lot to me like slimy toads. Now, in English, adjectives come before nouns. And the next word is did, which means that something did something. So the toves are the things that did it. And slithy describes what they were. Slithy could mean slimy or slithery. It could be a combination of the two words. Toves sounds like toads, but we know that they are a creature of some kind because it's doing something. And it's doing the next two words that I don't know. Did gyre and gimble. Gyre sounds a little bit like, you know how Elvis used to dance? They only showed him from the neck up because he was moving his hips like they showed us in Forrest Gump. That's called gyrating. And we have GY is M for Jim. Gyroscope, that's a medical tool that allows the doctor to be able to rotate a camera throughout whatever they're looking at inside your body so that they can look all the way around. So gyre kind of means flexible or movement, I'm guessing. And then I've got gimble. Gimble rhymes with a word that I know from a nursery rhyme when I was growing up. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over a candlestick. Well, if Jack's going to jump over a candlestick, he's got to be quick. We know that gimble doesn't mean, well, we know that nimble doesn't mean quick, it means something else. So if you're going to jump over a candlestick, you not only have to be quick, but you have to be flexible. So now we have two words that sound a little bit like some kind of a flexible action. So I want to ask you, who's more flexible and active, adults or kids? Kids, right? And you move in ways that we can't move anymore. So gyring and gimbling, it to me sounds a little like some movement that's going to be flexible and like a gymnast. And so now I'm picturing these slimy toads kind of doing gymnastics, doing leapfrog, but they're stretching out and they're showing off. That's what that sounds like to me. Especially because I think these are verbs because they're following the noun. And the next thing we have is in the wabe, which shows me that this is a place. And you think of a place where toads or other creatures could move in a very flexible fashion. How about maybe the waves at the beach? It rhymes with wabe, waves, wabe. So now we've got all mimsy were the borogoves. Mimsy. Now I want you guys to help me because I've been doing a lot of words. I want you to think of a word like that rhymes with mimsy. Can you think of one? Flimsy? That works. Flimsy. Whimsy. Yeah, if you do something on a whim, do you do it with a lot of thought? No, you do it quick and easy. Which, doesn't that go well with our idea of like a bright summery day we were talking about? Like brillig, looks like spring. Oh, I want to show you something else with brillig. If you look at the vowel consonant sound connection with brillig, BR is a sound blend, burr, in its consonants, and summer is a consonant, S, and then you have I. But it's a short I, and summer has a short U, and then you have, in brillig, you have two L's together, and in summer you have two M's together, two consonant M's, and then you have I in brillig, and G, and summer ends up with another vowel and a consonant. Now, I might be way off, but this is just my theory. But this is my job as the reader, is to make the sense of it that I can, using an arsenal of words that I know, to try to make some sense and familiarize myself with perhaps some ideas that the writer is trying to convey. All right, so now we've got these mimsy borogoves. Borogoves sounds kind of boring, don't you think? Borogoves, boring. These sound like a creature that usually is quite boring, but today they're feeling mimsy, and they're feeling mimsy because these slithy toves are gyring and jimbling in the wabe, and it's brillig, and even the mom raths outgrabe. I don't know what a mom rath is. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. It could be that the mom is a creature, and raths is the verb, and outgrabe shows where or how that happened. That's possible. Or we could follow with the slithy toves. Maybe he's describing raths, and that looks like rats. And mom sounds like mum or mom. Maybe these rats that are usually very quiet. And they today are outgraving, like how on a sunny day you might see a lot of cows out grazing. Whatever outgraving is, it starts with out, it's not in. And that would go with my theory of this summery day. Now, this is just stanza 1. I'm going to do stanzas 2 and 3 with you, and we're going to just play. We're going to play with nonsense words, because that's what this math professor wanted us to do, because he knew that language made sense, and that he could create his ideas from his mind to our mind, and whether we get it 100% right or not, he just wants to play with us. So this is why this is one of my favorite poems to teach, and we're going to have a lot of fun today.